Can we avoid putting on our sales voices?
Yeah.
Because the radio voices are definitely where it's at.
Yeah.
Sing.
Yeah, the radio voice is the thing. All right, everybody. I hit record about 15 seconds ago.
I zinged.
Yeah, I should have told you, but I snuck it in on you just like that. I've been doing that the last couple of times. It's kind of funny. Especially when I'm just like, hey, everybody, about 20 seconds ago. And they're just like,
Excellent.
because they're like, what did I say? And I'm like, don't worry about it. But this is the last episode of the KAAMP for the calendar year 2021. This is episode, I think, number 25. And that, if that number's incorrect, I'll justify it in black and white print somewhere. Whatever. I'm happy to have all around me very creative people. Some friends, some acquaintances, but all very talented. If you would go around the room and introduce yourself, starting with Tanya, will you please tell everybody your name and your socials and however else you want to identify yourself.
Social security number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what are we doing here?
Yeah, plug that social security number.
We're getting real intimate real quick.
Yeah. Identity theft is the goal here.
Oh, well, my name is Tanya West. I am a graphic designer. I currently am a graphic designer at AZ Rag, print and installations. And I am also a freelancer, but mostly just do newsletters and corporate things like that. Been a designer for a number of years, but also do other types of art medium as well.
I'm Adam Rowe. I, too, have a dark past in graphic design. That's the way it is. I have been doing art full time for about the last year, just because of the way the world is. Well, and also because it's awesome. And, working on a bunch of different things we may or may not discuss later.
Yeah. My name's Kevin Ariano. I am probably the only one out of y'all that is not a straight up artist like that. I do draw and dabble and stuff like that, but I am a self-defense and Krav Maga instructor full time for a gym. I'm also a musician at heart and just a creative mind. I like to believe. I like to dabble in whatever I can. I've done a little blacksmithing here and there, a little bit of everything, so that's me.
Yeah, that's why you're here. You're a generally creative person.
I'm Terry, also known as Kaichika Loka, and I am a muralist, a painter, mostly mixed media, and that is why I'm here.
All right, and that's who we have assembled around these various seats and tables today. And I'm going to start with the question is, where has art taken you guys this year? And feel free to jump in. This is explicit. The only thing I ask is we not talk over ourselves because we all have such wonderful things to say. So I'll go ahead and point at you, Adam, and get this ball rolling.
Oh, to hell and back? I mean, sort of kidding, but sort of not. I mean, by the way, in case you didn't look at the date on this podcast, this is 2021, so yeah, the last year has been kind of terrible, but kind of great. For me, I've gotten to really focus on being at home a lot, and for me that means being in the studio a lot, and I feel like I've got a pretty good routine now of getting up at the crack of dawn and really working, except today. I mean, today is the best day of the year as far as I'm concerned. I don't understand why it's not more of a holiday, because we get extra
That's fair.
We get a gift,
hour.
a precious gift.
Just amazing. We do get it taken away.
Someone's kid didn't wake them up at 8 or 4 o'clock in the morning then.
4 or 5, who's counting?
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay, that's my answer.
Where's everybody else been?
I think like art for me this year personally has been a not so literal thing. It's been the art of like refining myself, like the art of learning to be patient with myself again. I'm seeing art in that in a different scope, you know, not just the material thing, because I've done drawings and little paintings and other things that can be considered like true, you know, I guess raw art. But to me, this year's been more about like using my abilities and talents or passion for other things to redefine the art of myself, you know, find myself again, do different things, be creative again in different ways that aren't just pen to paper. And I think that's been the best thing that I've gotten out of my art this year, you know. And I include like what I do as my line of work as an art, you know, like I learn a lot through the kids I teach and stuff like that. So they help me internally, you know, come up with a lot of different things I wasn't paying attention to before, you know, for whatever external reasons. But that's where it's taken me.
It's good to have the lenses
Yeah,
that aren't yours.
absolutely.
And you've, instead of outward expression, you've turned all that finesse and energy inward.
In a literal and not so literal way. I mean, like I've had, you know, everybody has personal shit that happens, right? You know. So, but for me, it's been getting into the art of rebalancing yourself. You know, like it's really easy to get overwhelmed these days, especially with everything, you know, that everyone's going through, and settling yourself mentally and coming to terms with yourself and being able to be in a state of solitude and being still peaceful has been something I've had to work at. And it is an art. It takes time and dedication, just like any other art. You know, it takes time to be inwardly patient with yourself, you know, and that's where it's taken me. I've had to develop that skill because it's not just something that comes naturally. It's something you work at. And I'm a true believer in that, like hardcore, you know. I'm a martial artist, and I've done that for like a long time, and so that kind of plays into my discipline and my mentality. You know, it's still part of my art. You know, you are your own art. You know, you define yourself, you create yourself, you mold yourself, you shape yourself by the things you do and don't do. So that's what it's done for me so far this year.
I think a lot of that exterior crafting that you do for yourself has really helped you discipline the crafting you're trying to do on the inside.
Absolutely.
And it's cool to see you turn it inside like that.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's I when I picked up blacksmithing not too long ago, that was a really fun experience because I did it with a gentleman who was a student of mine in the self-defense gym. And when I say student, this man was 78 years old. Man. He's like this old man, and he had a forge at his house that he hadn't used in like 20 or 30 years. And so, getting out there and doing that with him, he was so happy. You know, he was like, I haven't seen this fire start in like forever, and like literally and like metaphorically.
That's awesome.
You know? And to see this man like pick up a hammer and just start spreading metal in a way I couldn't even do at 31, I was like amazed. And that, you know, I took that home with me, and I kept thinking about those things all night. I'm like, this man is like incredible, and that helped me internally. You feel me? Like it helped me like come to terms with a lot of bullshit. Like you're not that bad. Like your body's not breaking down yet. You know, because I'm dealing with those like weird things. You know, like health wise. And so it helped me see it through his lens, like you said earlier. You know, it helped me put on a different pair of eyes, so to speak. And I think that's really important lately. It's super easy to lose your shit in this world right now, dude. Like, it's really hard to be at peace.
Terry, Tanya?
Well, I don't know, this year's been really crazy for me because I started working at a new job. I've been freelancing for a really long time, just working strictly from my home, you know, raising my daughter and just watching her become like a little creative fireball herself and loving every moment of it, but just missing my own craft. But now I'm designing cars, which I would have never seen myself doing that this time last year, but it's been a huge transition and I love it. And you know, like what Kevin was talking about, I started yoga teacher training. So I've been focusing a lot on giving myself breaks, taking deep breaths, telling myself it's okay to say no, it's okay to cancel things if I need to just, you know, take some time for myself now that I have so much going on. And it's been a crazy year, but a good year for me, I think. I'm surrounded by creative people at work. I have a really creative boss who inspires me a lot, and you know, I'm excited. I'm excited for this next year to see what else I get myself into artistically.
There's a lot of room to play with inside the professional context we share.
I am
For
really
sure.
I'm really excited to see what we all get ourselves into, because I know it's going to be, a lot of running into each other in fun ways. Oh, being your executive producer. Is this one of those chairs?
I mean, you're not gonna fall backwards as long as you don't do anything dumb.
People tell me that all the time, and tragic things happen. So I was gonna.
I'll tell you what, just stay center of gravity forward, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
Just hang out
believe in
there.
center of gravity.
It's just
Doesn't believe
out
in
here.
me.
Just out here.
I'm good.
You'll be
I'm
fine.
good.
Where you been, Terry?
So this year has been really exciting for me in the sense that up until COVID, I was focusing all of my energy on art shows, exhibitions, group showings, and that all abruptly came to a stop, as we all know. And so, I was kind of forced to transform myself and mode of expression, and that's why I started doing murals and street art, which is, really important to me in the whole realm of things, because I love the way that anyone can experience it, regardless of, where you live, who you are, how much money you do or don't have. Public art is, I think it's needed more so now than it, I think there's a revolution going on, and it's in the streets, and it's just, it brings uplifting vibes and color and thought-provoking images to everyone, communities, cities. So that's basically how I've been evolving, is in street art world. So
I have a
I'm
dumb
not.
question for you. Is it hard to get like permits to do public art on like murals and stuff? Like, or is it a lot of hoops you have to jump through? I guess.
I'm not sure about that because I've not had to deal with that yet.
Okay.
The places that I've been painting are private.
Private owned.
Yeah,
Okay,
like-
gotcha.
Like I'm working on one now at Orange Hat Brewery
Okay.
over on Hardin Valley Road.
Okay, yeah.
So like there's not really I don't have to deal with that.
I gotcha. Yeah, I just saw. I go to a gym over at Concord and Sutherland, I think, that intersection down there, and they have a big side by the railroad tracks. They just got painted like a huge mural. It's freaking
Oh, the big,
beautiful.
the Marble
flowers
City,
with
the
all-
Marble City one.
Oh, dude, it's so nice. Like, it's not done, I think, but it's so pretty. It's huge, and I always drive by and I think, like, damn, how hard is it to get, like, a permit for the city to be like, yeah, sure, go ahead and do that. Like, I don't know if that's a thing, but like you're saying, you're doing it for private businesses. That makes sense.
Yeah, basically, like I think when the city hires artists, they just collect proposals. Like that
Gotcha.
is who you're
Right.
asking for permission.
Right.
So, and then everything else would be like privately owned.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All the properties I've ever painted on have been privately owned.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I guess where you and I both paint most often is also privately owned.
Yeah. That would be correct.
Yep. Shout out the Walls Art Park. That's a great spot. But you travel a lot doing this gig.
I do. Yeah, I'm working on a 20-foot tall wall. It's 20 by 11 in Wilmington, North Carolina right now. And I'm working on a 30-foot wraparound at Orange Hat. And those are my last two of this year. So I'm like anxiously awaiting studio time. I'm ready to just like not be moving and traveling so much. So
Is it comfortable to you to do those big walls?
yeah, the first time that I was like on my own, I was basically just like learning as I went. There were a lot of things I just had to like figure out. Like that 20-foot wall, I had to like figure out how to approach it without a scissor lift and like which ladders do I buy, like what's safe, what's not safe, is this OSHA approved? And like how much paint do I need? I had to like figure out all of that, and just how to go about it, like the process of it, the process of like preparing the wall and putting on the base coats, buffing it, and figuring out how to set like a time limit on myself so that I could like actually like uphold contracts and how to write a contract and just all types of things like that. So it's been like a tremendous amount of learning this year for me, which makes me really happy.
You're running a business at the same time, so
Yes.
you're learning your craft and running. That's
Yes.
tough. Yeah,
So
that's hard.
Yeah, that's a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah.
So on the inverse of that question, where have you all taken your art or creativity? Is there anything you've tried to accomplish, a new media you wanted to get into, a new look or a new style you wanted to gain some skill with, anything like that?
Yeah, so last time we talked, I said I was gonna figure out encaustic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I figured something out. I would definitely not say I
What is that exactly?
mastered it or anything. That's the question. What even is it? No,
It's an existential thing.
wax basically. It's
Okay.
like you're painting with wax and pigment. It's so wax is for watercolor. Water is like the vehicle for the paint. So this wax is the
Well, I'm envisioning you over a canvas with like candles. Is that correct?
not candles.
Okay, got it.
No, but like a hot plate.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes more sense.
I love that visual though.
Dude, I'm an idiot. I don't know this stuff.
That seems very intense.
I just see him like over there with candles, wax. Like, that's
That's
pretty
the
dope.
preparation
Okay.
ceremony. The
Okay, right.
stage and- no, so yeah, but I'm trying to figure that out. I don't know. It's super fun. It's just really weird. I'm just kind of, like I said, the whole graphic design thing. I'm impressed by the idea of doing murals because I it just seems like like okay, well I need a couple of weeks to plan to really think and then I'll start actually making something on the wall. I mean, that's just not how it works. So the encaustic thing is pretty cool because it's kind of like you've got a whole plan laid out, which may not be. I should be careful. I shouldn't be speaking for all encausticists out there. That may not be how people normally work, but for me, it's a pretty cool, like almost printmaking layered approach to everything.
Well, the piece you gifted me after our last episode is hanging upstairs in my studio, and I'll have to show it to you when we're done with this because it doesn't look the same as
sweet.
when
Yes.
you gave it to me. The patina has advanced on it,
Nice.
so it's definitely different than when you saw it last.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun too. I really like the idea of metal stuff that doesn't just rust and look terrible, but it actually, if you just do a few things to it, you can kind of plan how it might look different in a good way over time.
Yeah, there's definitely more red space on this panel now than there was.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely more.
I'm still with the candles in my head.
You could do it with candles. It's just the candles are really, they're gonna be. There's a number of problems.
Right.
Your candles are probably gonna be mostly paraffin,
Okay.
or I know people are crazy about beeswax
Right,
candles,
right.
but that's very dangerous. Don't burn beeswax.
Does it like blow up?
It's toxic.
Oh, okay. I was like, I had a candle that blew up one time. That was weird. I wasn't sure what was happening.
I would rather it blow up than long-term inhale
Yeah.
carcinogens and stuff. Yeah, and you need to mix it with the right proportions of resin, which
yeah,
which I have to
fuck
look
that
up
up.
every time I do it
Just
because
get it tattooed on your forearm. Just like, shit. All right.
memento situation.
Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
Some more. That's good. That's funny.
Terry, have you found any techniques or mediums in this calendar year that you really come to know and use on a regular basis?
yes, so simultaneously, in addition to murals, I'm working on a series called Sailing Dreams, and it is it's revolves around women, water, and ropes. But so like there's a lot of water and ocean elements, and so I've been painting with cuttlefish ink.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
All right.
So that
I
is
dig it.
heavily experimental, but I'm really excited about it.
Do you get good coverage?
Yes, I treat it just like watercolor.
That's amazing.
I know, I want to see that.
So
Have any of those hit the public eyes yet, or
No.
are you still keeping them under
nope,
wraps?
everything is waiting until like, I do a show.
So, big reveal at
Yeah,
the time?
sometime next year.
Okay. That sounds like a good body of work. Do you know how many pieces you're going to try and have in this?
No, because I'm also incorporating some collaborations with one. I'm working with a marine biologist, so we just started this collaboration and it'll be ongoing. And then another water scientist in California. I'll be working with her also, so kind of offshoots of the same.
That sounds really cool.
So.
Yeah. I'm here for that.
And you get to say, like, oh yeah, I have a cuttlefish guy.
Right? Got the hookup.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I studied like marine biology, oceanography, marine science before I threw myself into my art. So there's a lot of like inspiration that comes from that.
It's awesome.
Tanya, what have you done? I'm just going around the room pointing fingers now. Ha ha ha. In what ways have you pushed yourself?
Well, like I said, I'm designing cars now. That is very outside of anything I'd ever done before. I am traditionally a print artist, so I do a lot of, flat things like posters and signs and, just fun graphics, logos. So actually having to learn 3D design is kind of thrown into it was a challenge, but a fun one, and I think I'm doing well. It's been almost a year since I started, and it's just been a blast. We have great customers, and they have great visions, and we always find a way to come together and come up with something great. I have been kind of not been having a lot of time to work on my own personal practice, so I was doing a lot of painting before I started my new job. A lot of mandalas and planters and just fun little things. We bought a new home, just trying to make decor for the house and try out new things. That has completely stopped, but but I worked a lot this weekend on kind of gutting my studio and starting over, hoping that like a fresh start, fresh canvas on the walls and blank walls, blank table will inspire me to just sit down and do some stuff and incorporate my new yoga training, the things I'm learning there, incorporate it with my creative work. I'm really excited to see what happens this coming year.
Now, if you're dedicating some good energy to recreating your space like that, you kind of set some expectations for yourself.
Yeah. Well, I just, my biggest goal is to just sit down and just kind of be in my space, be with myself, and just hang out with my art supplies, hang out next to my blank canvases. One of these days, I might just turn around and grab one. And, I find a lot of my best work, my favorite work, comes from moments like that where I kind of just, I'm sitting in my space and feel something, something inspiring comes to me.
And then you just grab your shit and go to work.
Exactly. That's what I hope for, at least. That's what the whole, what's the word I'm looking for?
The revamp.
Yeah, that was the the intention of this weekend's revamp of the studio gutting. But I'm very excited.
So you're satisfied with the revamp?
I am. Blank walls. I have my plants look like they're alive again. I had to move them from the basement because I think it was too much of a shock for them. So, generally, all the plants upstairs are happy, but we had to hide them because we have a puppy that loves pothos. He loves pothos vines, and so I had to move them into my studio, into the sunny spot to hide them. But yeah, I think it's all good news from here.
That's great to hear. I'm pleased to hear it.
Yes.
I guess this year, in my case, I've become really, really comfortable with the style that I've developed over the last couple of years. And I kind of want to do less overtly psychedelic things and try to shoot for more surrealism, because I feel like more people can relate to surrealist things in general than just straight up, super solid psychedelic things. One of the first bits of media that I've produced along those lines is a sunset piece that's going to have a mandala-esque sun and sun rays sinking behind the ridge in the piece. So you still get the idea and all the colorful sunset sky and whatnot, and then there's just this dose of psychedelic sort of off-center in the piece that, pushes the surrealism instead of the whole thing being some crazy bright mandala. You get a section of a crazy bright mandala nestled into this lovely sunset scene, and
Sounds cool.
I'm pretty comfortable with the ratio of the surrealism to psychedelic in this particular piece. So I'm gonna try and shoot for that ratio in more pieces and incorporate more things we're accustomed to seeing in our everyday life into paintings, whether it be landscapes or random objects or whatever. I just want to bring more relatable things into the imagery I use. So that's where I'm going to start with that sort of thing, outside of the automotive styling paint stuff that I really want to get into. So I've got two competing ideas in my head right now, but I'm comfortable with both of them because, one, I know what I want the thing to look like and what ways I want it to achieve the things I'm trying to do. And then with the automotive theme stuff, I'm really comfortable with the patterns and the colors and how they're stacked and applied and all the visual tricks that you can do with those. And I just want to give some retro things a little touch that suits my sensibilities and put them out there just because it would be fun. That's more of a color and thought exercise kind of thing than some technical bit of information I want to get across or some image that I feel called to produce. I'm just trying to do some more fun stuff that isn't so out there this coming year. 2020 and 2021, I really had the time and the space mentally and physically to dive into the really psychedelic things I wanted to do, artistically speaking. And I've made, between those, in those 24 months, I probably made 50 to 70 pieces yeah, dude, I was busy.
So many.
I know. I would sit down and do a couple a week, and that doesn't count just the sketches I would do of the bone work in these images I want to start from, because I would just grab a 8x12 piece of paper or whatever and sketch it all out. And I'd sit down in front of the 24x24 or the 12x24 and just copy that little pattern I pulled out of my brain one day and expand on it from there. And it's really helped me figure out my creative workflow, because sitting down, getting into that routine, knowing that I've developed that pattern of actions and thoughts and I can really get into the headspace that's good for me to be creative. I guess that's one of the things that I've really learned through this creative process over the last couple of years, is how to put myself reliably in the headspace where I feel comfortable creating. And that's been really helpful. I've been able to put out more consistent good work and work I'm happy with, because I know the set and setting I need to get into the the headspace of the attitude to do work I'm comfortable with. So that's been really nice.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I've been able to do it all over the place, like painting in public, painting with my friends, and then I've done things here at the house and by myself in my own time. So it's been helpful all around. I'm really okay with it.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I've tackled a little bit of a new medium slower than I thought I was going to, because last time you and I talked, I was like, oh, I'm getting into pinstriping. And I'm still getting into pinstriping. And
Did you do the glass on your own face on the glass?
yeah, I did my
That's
face
awesome,
on the
dude.
glass. I put a picture underneath it,
Yeah.
and I traced it through
That's
the glass. There's a lot I could say about that, but I'm happy I did it, and
Yeah.
that's where I stand on my pinstriping experience right now.
I feel like such a cheater when I trace stuff. Like, I don't know why.
Well, I wasn't gonna sit there and
Yeah,
with
yeah,
a mirror.
yeah. Just stare at yourself.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, that's
I wanted the lines where I was going to paint them. I wanted to see it 1-to-1, and
And pinstriping is so precise too. Like,
yeah, and I've tried the regular MAC brushes, and I've got a script brush, a skinny long-haired brush instead of one with a big fat belly and a tiny little point. So I'm gonna play with it some. So far, the few times I've picked it up, I've got a good handle on it, but there's finesse there that I need to develop with another like 60 hours of that pen in my hand or brush in my hand. So we'll see how it goes. But the crazy automotive stuff and some pinstriping, and that's going to be like my overall like back way into pinstriping automotive color schemes instead of just playing around with like single and dual color stuff on pieces that I'm not going to do anything with. So
makes sense.
instead trying to put a ledge up there to climb to and feel like I'm tired of practicing, or if I'm really like throw some stakes on it if I want to sell this piece or not. And it's a really relatable topic and far more surrealist than it is psychedelic when you come right down to it. So it sort of fits into that thing too. Either way, I'm going to make it and enjoy it. And if people don't want to buy it, I'm still going to hang it on my walls and be totally comfortable with it. Because I like looking at crazy stacked colors and metal flake paint jobs and all kinds of bright, crazy, colorful stuff. So it's not going to bother me one bit. So has anybody gathered any new inspirations since we last talked, or in general in this year? I've gathered a few.
I know what I'd like to gather.
Well, yeah, let's throw it out there.
That
Let's
makes
hear it.
sense. I'm always trying to find. I haven't found any yet, but I'm always just wondering what I could do that would be sort of more meaningful in terms of like social activism, those kind of things, like things that really
Yeah.
matter, as opposed to, right now I feel confident making something that looks cool on a wall, but I can't wait until I figure it out, like how to turn that into something that also could be used for the forces of good kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I would be really good at writing political cartoons, and then I sat down to write a political cartoon, just like, shit, and like, I feel like I have some valuable commentary to add or some lens to give to this scenario that other people would appreciate in some form or fashion. But then I guess that's just me overestimating my own articulation on any given topic.
Like, once it's actually said out loud.
Right, like, do people actually give a shit about my point of view? So they also have that struggle with it too, and that's more often what gets me to not show the thing, but I still try to draw it, just even as a challenge if I don't enjoy it, because like, animation is cool. Drawing stuff like that's something I've done. There's no reason for me not to do it if I have the idea in my head, even if it's just a simple like 3-frame and stick figures. Like, I got to get the idea out.
Yeah.
There's no. I've yet to be a moderately successful political satire artist. So, if that day ever comes, friends, then hell hath frozen over. Tanya, Terry, any new things? Well, I had you talking about techniques and stuff with materials a minute ago. What have you been learning, Tanya? I mean, large format printing is definitely a new thing, on the scale you're doing it now.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been into large format printing. These printers, the printers that I work with, the size of them, those aren't new. But just how new the printers are, they're all fancy. They're all telling me what to do. And things like that. That's kind of new to me. But I like that it's, they're a lot more intuitive. I kind of like that they tell me what to do a little bit. I like that they, I'm a couple rooms away and they're screaming for help, and I'm like, I'm coming, printers.
Change the ink. Beep, beep,
Yes,
beep.
I like that kind of stuff, but banners and grommets and production work and X-Acto knives and things like that, that's not new stuff to me. But wrapping cars and like, we need extra material here because we need this to go over this, and these lines need to meet, and there's a body line here. All that stuff is new to me. It makes my brain melt. I'm very lucky to have a crew that is very patient, and I learn something new every day. And you guys are very good to how to, the way that you explain how things fall and how things work. It is very beneficial to me, and it helps me love my job. But if I had to learn all that stuff on my own, I probably wouldn't like my job very much. I'm not a math person. That's not how my head works. I'm not a AutoCAD 3D 3D artist by any means.
But we can take a 60 by 8 inch sheet of vinyl and magnet it up to the side of the car and be like, those letters don't need to be here because it goes like this.
Yeah.
And it folds in and you can't see that.
Oh, I've learned all kinds of really cool tricks. And I've come up with a couple of cool tricks myself to figure out how things lay, and have actually spent probably too much time wondering, should I get into AutoCAD? Should I learn the program?
It's a dark, lonely road.
I'm familiar with it. I've been in there. I've been inside the world, and I've messed around a little bit.
You make it sound so dirty.
It didn't.
It's just scary.
Well, I mean, being a graphic designer, being like a print designer, and I come from newspaper, so I come from like a very archaic side of like graphic design. Nothing like fancy. Right. I was designing newspaper ads with like banner tape and like wax and blue marker
From
and
a candle?
photograph. Something kind of like that, but nothing
Somebody's gotta
nearly
have a
as
damn
dramatic
candle.
as what Adam's into. Yeah. So yeah, I start like way back that way, and so all of it just fascinates me. I don't know.
All right, so if you're going to talk about candles, I'm going to tell you the episode that
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go back to every 5 minutes.
there's been a theme develop here, and there's a theme develop in the other podcast I did on Friday with some different set of friends of mine. We got to talking about demons, and demons came up like, I don't know, 9 or 12 times in this podcast.
I mean,
we sat around and talked for
season Halloween.
Right.
we sat around and talked for about an hour and 45 minutes, and in the context, demons were like the hitches in your giddy up of your creative workflow, or the things that really bug the piss out of you about the way you do things, and you could change them but you don't, or you just suffer through them, or the things that somehow just like irk you about yourself inside of the context of how you execute your creativity. So that's the theme that was in this one, and it actually turned up some really good questions, so I'm going to pose that one to you.
Demons?
Demons.
Oh, like actual demons?
Yeah, like actual demons in your workflow that piss you off.
For me personally, it's like in my work, right, I do martial arts up until, so my body's been giving out lately, right, I'm not that old, I'm 31, but like in this case, my elbows they're in really bad shape, like I've lost a lot of ability to use them in certain contexts, like.
But you go hard, like don't
I do.
tell
Like, it's
people
been
you
years, like before I did any of this stuff in Texas, like I was doing weightlifting, and then I played bass, all through middle school, high school, college, and like that's using your elbows and arms, and they've gone down the drain to where like I've been seeing tons of doctors lately, and they're all like, yeah, you're gonna need a series of like 4 surgeries, in total. I'm like, So it's been confronting essentially one of my demons, right? It's sounds really dramatic, but it's like your own mortality or like your own physical being. Like I'm still in the young part of my life where I have not had to hit this point yet, and now I'm hitting it hard, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Like, your body doesn't want to do what you're asking it to do. So like for me, that's a personal demon, not a literal one, right? But it's hindered the way I do things, the way I think, the way I have to approach my view of the future as well. Like I want to have a family, I want to be married, I want to be available to like pick up my children, and I have to come to terms with like yes, I'm doing all this shit for fun and for money. At the same time, I gotta like, at some point it has to stop where this demon, so to speak, is going to like consume me, man. Like, I don't want my body to fail before I'm fucking 40.
Yeah, and you
like,
don't want robot elbows picking up your kid either.
Right, like I don't need that shit, you know. And so, you know, it's been one of those things, dude. Like, and you know, earlier you were asking how, you know, different mediums are different things, you know, and that was one thing this last year in my competitive jiu-jitsu life. I pushed myself super hard to approach my tournaments a different way that I had never done before, and I like upped my training super hard for like 4 consecutive months. And at the end of that tunnel, I came out on top. Like literally, by the end of this year, I went to 4 tournaments. I got like 6 gold medals, you know. So like it was great. It was the outcome I wanted.
Wow.
But once I cleared the tunnel, all the damage was done. Like,
Yeah.
And there's no, and it sounds dramatic, but there is no going back now. You know, like my body is at a point where my elbows are, where it's like bad enough to where there's no just going back on my own. You know, no matter how much rest I take, no matter how much I alter the way I do things. You know, it's just, it's painful. Like I'll sit here and my elbows just pop, dude, and I don't do anything. All I do is just move my arm. It's like crack. I'm like, fuck. Like, so that has been, you know, one of my personal like demons, if you will, or ghosts in the box that like makes my life a miserable fucking experience, because it infects the way that I think. It infects the way that I express myself creatively. Holding my base up for more than an hour fucking hurts. Like drawing lately, I've been doing that pointillism bullshit.
Yeah.
So painful to just like do this for fucking.
See,
I'll do it
he's
for, like,
setting himself up.
I'll do it for like 5 minutes and I'm like, like,
Okay.
and it just hurts, dude. I'm like, this is crap. So
All right, so I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you that they actually make a machine that is a stippling
A tattoo
machine.
gun.
It kinda,
Yeah.
but with an ink pen. Anyway, they work.
Yeah.
So if you want to get into that,
I literally thought about
help
one
you.
day, I was like, what if I just lay down flat and put like a camera and then project that on my TV, so I could just look sideways and like fucking do it, because I couldn't figure out a way to like just keep bending my arm, and like I was just over it. Like I just got so
Yeah.
upset with it. Like so. Yeah.
Well, there are tools to up your productivity and speed in this context. So
Yeah. And mind you, I had no idea what I was doing with that pointillism shit. The day you told me like nice pointillism, I'm like, the fuck is that, Google? You know, I'm like, what are you talking about? I had no idea.
he did a dragon, like bust of a dragon and a dragon's eye that looked really, really good, and I was like, hell yeah, keep it up.
I just
and
did
he
that
was
for
just
fun.
like, what's
like,
that?
I have no idea. It was just a thing. But yeah. Anywho, going off. That's my answer to that demon shit. Like that's what's personally attacking me. You know, like yeah, fucking sucks.
Anybody else have a parallel?
Well, personally, my big one, and it's come around twice in a big way this year, is ego. Because I've never been like a huge ego person. I've never been like ultra competitive or anything like that. But for some reason that hasn't saved me from my ego like crushing me twice this year. It's been really strange. So, you know, I come into this new job and, you know, I'm a skilled graphic designer. I've been doing this for a really long time in a bunch of different ways. But, you know, cars is a completely different world. And my boss is like a really amazing artist and graphic designer. And he knew a lot more about like large format printing and all the stuff that I did. And I was just like, man. And then I working with a team of great artists. And I felt very out of practice because I had been freelancing for a long time. And then this yoga teacher training, you know, I do a lot of strength training and, you know, I work out. I thought I was all fit and awesome and stuff. And then I start yoga teacher training. I realize that I'm nothing. I know nothing. Nothing at all, you know. And that the handstand or headstands and handstands I've been doing probably haven't been safe. Like they look awesome. I look strong. I am strong. You know, I didn't break anything, but by like yogi standards, probably not anything to brag about. And it just made me want to quit a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. You know, it's like, man, I felt so set back. I felt like I was starting over in so many different ways. But
Does that ever like inspire you, or do you feel like that always just tears you down?
I found a way to get past the tear down.
Yeah.
tear down part of it because I'm surrounded by incredible people.
Right.
One, they would never let me just quit. I mean, for crying out loud, I don't know anyone who would just let me just bow out.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, learning to use my weaknesses as strengths,
Right.
and learning, just the learning part of it is fun, and it's something to show up for,
Right.
and, you know, enjoy the journey, just enjoy the adventure of it all, and, you know, it's all been very fun. And now that I've been able to kind of relax and not hold myself to such an expectation, I'm starting to really, you know, just enjoy everything all over again.
And that's why I ask, because I feel like a lot of people, when they have that experience with something new, or like you're saying, you know, where you know, you're having that feeling with this new job where you feel like underqualified, but like you feel a little bit less, right?
I felt much less qualified than I did when I,
Right.
you know, when
And,
I
like,
signed up for it.
I
that's
experienced
for
that.
sure.
I experienced that a lot in my field of work. Is like I'm an instructor, so I get tons of new people all the time who have never thrown a punch or a kick in their life, and then they come in, they take my class for an hour, and they're like, "Okay, well, I suck. This is never something I can do," and they turn it into an ego breaking thing, like it's destroying them. And I'm like, you know, I crave that sometimes. I crave that like that restart button, you know, and I think that's why, like personally, you know, I have, through my life, tried to turn that same thing you're talking about. I fight with that every day, just like I'm sure everybody does, you know, that feeling of iniquity or being inadequate for something, you know. But I think that's why, like me personally, I like to take on things like, again, that stupid drawing. I keep referring to the drawing because like I'm not an artist like that, like you guys, you know, and I have that experience. Like I'll draw this thing and then people are like, wow, it looks good, you know. And then I have a friend who's an actual graphic designer who'll start like talking theory of like lighting and color and all this. I'm like, I fucking suck. Like this is terrible, but it inspires me.
Like, what is all that? Even?
Yeah, but it to
Yeah.
me, like, it puts me in this mindset of like, well, shit, I want to find out. Like, I want to do it. You know, I want to try it. Like, when I saw people hammering metal away on TV, I was like, I can fucking do it. Like, you're no more special, you know? So I wonder, like, if it's getting to that point with yourself, you know, where you can now turn it around and see it as like a, let's fucking do this, you know? Like, let's go for it.
There's
like,
always a turning point where it's either, you know, I'm either going to bitch out
right.
or I'm going to accept the challenge and do it. And when it comes to big things like that, you know, like my career, you know, I love our clients. I love my team. I don't want to let anyone down. You know, I'm gonna step up to the plate every time. And you know, I'm lucky enough to be in a career where I learn something new every day, several things every day. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with it for as long as I can. Let my brain grow until it can no longer grow.
Hell yeah.
One of the things that I enjoy about my line of work, which is adjacent to her line of work, is you really don't know what challenges you're going to meet on a day-to-day basis, and that's one of my favorite things about my job. Like, of course, I can know the whole week of installs that are coming up and what materials I'm going to be using, but the moment you show up on site or you get the vehicle in the shop, like, all that can go out the window.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's like a Terry. Imagine it's raining one day and she has to paint outside. Like, what do you do then? Like,
You
there goes your whole fucking
paint.
day.
You don't paint.
Or like the material, like your paint doesn't stick the way you think it's going to.
Oh,
or
I've
doesn't
had all
dry
kinds
as
of
quickly.
interesting things.
Yeah, nightmare scenarios.
Paint on waterlogged walls.
I can imagine if like porous material or concrete, if it's like more porous, I would assume that like eats the paint away or something.
It does.
That's
It
great.
takes a lot more paint to get
So
covered.
covered in.
But who's actually
More
thinking
coat.
about these things before you get there?
Right.
Oh God, it's So I've shown up to work on some pretty gnarly walls a lot over East Tennessee, and you know sometimes if a block wall isn't sealed or full of concrete, like the cinder block itself can be just so waterlogged. You put a water-based paint on it and nothing happens. It doesn't dry. It just kind of moves around a little bit. It's like haha bitch, and then that's it. You know, and you like even if you're in direct sun all day, and this waterlogged wall is a waterlogged wall, it's not going to dry. Like you need weeks of consistent dry weather to dry
heat
out this
guns.
fall. I ain't eating hours. No,
No heat guns?
no heat guns. You know, just things like that have gotten in my way. Porous surfaces, just bad like stucco on a wall has ruined shit for me a few times. Like. You just never know what's going to happen when you're on site, you know. There's just so many variables. Like, lucky enough, you can kind of get an idea of what you're doing if you're painting a lot of private property and, you know, a controlled environment's really nice to work in. But, you know, if you're just out slinging paint, doing whatever, you can make no promises for the surface you're gonna get or pick or whatever. It is what it is at that point. You either gotta suck it up and just do what you can, or walk home defeated because the wall was ugly.
I kind of just chalk it up to that being part of the adventure of it all. Sometimes I feel like if I didn't have those little, like, oh, no one told me no one told me that there were rivets on both sides of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe my job could get boring sometimes and repetitive sometimes. So.
But there's also the exact opposite, like tomorrow.
Right.
You know, it swings both ways so quick.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. You know, just gotta be ready for anything. Thank goodness I am ready for anything.
Keeps you ready, head on a swivel.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
on your toes.
I mean, that's like
I
when I
live
was
for it.
when I was doing live audio, dude. Sometimes I'd expect 2 guitars, a bass, and a drum, and the guitars will show up. Hey, I brought my harmonica and my 2 spoons or something. I'm like, the fuck you want me to do
Okay.
about that? But all right,
Spoons, okay.
just go for it. Figure this shit out.
Play a little bit, I'll do what I can.
I'll fix it during warm up. There you go.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm not 31 anymore. You know, but
It's not what you said the other day.
I said I feel. I mean, you asked me how old I feel.
You said you were turning 1,000.
Oh yeah, that was a bad morning. I just got back. I just got out of the gym. Okay, I was decrepit, but you know, I just feel like a lot of that comes with age too, where you get to a certain point and you're just, you know, you do it for a completely different reason now. You know, it's just, you know, I have,
Oh,
you know,
your dog's gonna fucking.
My dog's peeking in the window at us, and
Dude, I was like, shoot it. What the fuck?
easy kid.
no, I think, you know, as I get older, I'm not competitive like I used to be. I mean, I've never been very competitive, but I am certainly nowhere near as competitive as I used to be. You know, there's always going to be someone who's like fresh and new, and you know, there are kids that are going to school just to design vehicle wraps now. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing when I was a kid. You know, I can't fear that kind of stuff. I have to just kind of go with it, and you know, I'm happy to, just as long as I'm learning, and you know, just as long as I'm a part of it, I'm
I
happy.
definitely draw parallels in my creative shindigs. Like, I'm gonna make what I'm gonna make because I want to make it, and I don't really care too often if you like it or not, because the thing that was important to me about this piece is that I sat down to make it, and now y'all are lucky enough to be privy to it. If you don't like it, I'm not sorry. It's just this thing that's showing in public. You know, you don't have to look at
Yeah,
it.
but it's okay. It's not for you.
Well, I mean, I'm
It's, you know,
sharing it and showing it
for-
in public at that point, so it kind of is for you, but I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm in control of your response to it. So, you
It's
know,
not specifically for that one person who's like, meh.
yeah.
So are your
yeah.
walls based off commission, like the subject matter, or do you do them like they hire you for your specific work and then you make whatever?
So the wall at Orange Hat, they had so it's an L-shaped wall. The first side is 10 by 6 feet or
Okay.
6.5, something like that, and then the other side of it is 20 by 6.5
shoot.
feet. So they wanted 3 separate ideas. The first one is right by the stage, so they
Okay.
wanted like this trippy scene is how they brought it to me.
Yeah, you're like, how?
And
trippy?
so like, I'm like, I got
Well,
you.
I got you, fam.
So I used to design psychedelic concert posters.
Cool.
So I was like, that really appealed to me, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like, I didn't go with like the cheesy, like, you know, forest with the mushrooms and
The shit we all drew in our
sunshine.
notebooks in like middle school.
Seventh grade.
Or for you.
I swear I drew so many
Yeah.
mushrooms.
It's up to you guys.
So I did some cool stuff with the lettering, like I did an anagram.
Okay.
So
Hell
like
yeah.
when you read it, it says Orange Hat Brewing.
Yeah.
But if you take a photo of it and turn it upside down, it says like ferment, barley,
Nice.
beer, something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
What?
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
So and then like the rest was just like I typically use like really high intensity colors in my work. So like that's kind of like why they liked my
Gotcha.
style. Use a lot of fluorescents, neons,
Nice.
UV reactive, a lot of colors like red, orange next to like turquoise blue, just so like with the placement of them, like they vibrate,
Right,
you
right,
know.
right.
So that's how we got the project started.
Right.
The next one they wanted a Knoxville skyline.
Okay.
So that was really fun though.
So on some of it, it's like they're giving you some creative freedom. and
Yeah,
on other
so
ones,
like
they
it
kinda want a
goes
topic.
so like it goes from like what's facing the stage, like this crazy like psychedelic whatever. And then the next it's still got like that, you know, fun, exciting. It's night it says Orange Hat, like with there's lightning and like this intense sky. And then it's nighttime
Okay.
skyline sort of with like lights. It's kind of vibrant, and then it morphs into like more natural, like they said, like Cades Cove ish,
Okay.
but like that.
That's
I'm
kinda
not
broad.
really Cades Cove ish style kind of girl, so like I had to like, you know, like I don't really have a choice sometimes as far as like how it comes out of me.
Right.
So like it is realistic, and it's got like, you know, native trees and
Right.
plants, and there's a bear in there, but it's going to be
It's your
very
style, though.
much like
Yeah.
high intensity color, not neons, not
Yeah.
anything like that, but just vibrant.
Right.
So they said have fun with it, you know,
Gotcha.
gave me a general idea,
Yeah.
and then just like
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That must feel
had
really
me
good
go
to
through
just have
it.
that creative freedom
So-
and like openness to your own palette. I would imagine that's like the tattoo artists feel too, you know?
right. Now the last wall that I just did, it was a 20-foot wall, a flood victim at Waverly, Tennessee. Her family commissioned me to do a memorial wall. So that was my
Specific.
actually that was my second portrait with aerosols, but that was, you know, not much creativity.
Right.
But I welcome that opportunity because I love doing portraits.
For sure.
I did a lot of like figure studies in high school, and that's just continued
That's
throughout
awesome.
my whole life. I love
Awesome.
doing that. So
Sorry, like totally hijacked that right now. I was curious.
No, that's fine. Did you have any creative demons get at you in either of those projects?
yes, there was a paint shortage when I went there, and so it's like an hour and a half outside of Nashville. There was a paint. Yeah, I couldn't get any green, and like it was in a field of sunflowers is like the photo that I was painting. So like I needed not just one kind of green, but a multitude of greens, and there was nothing. So that was that. Yeah, and that's not the first time that I've dealt with this. My very first mural, I thought I was so cool because I was ordering my spray paint online to have it like delivered, and like I get there, like none of the colors.
That's
So, like, yeah, just like making
Lessons
those
learned.
mistakes. Like, PBS was filming the portrait that I was doing at a different portrait memorial
I forgot
wall.
all about PBS being there.
Yeah, so like I'm painting, and the black that I had brought to do the lettering was like kind of like this grayish, like Payne's gray color. And so someone there is like, oh, well, I've got like this paint that you could use. It's like really, really dark black. I'm like, perfect. So he's got the camera behind me, and I'm doing the lettering, and I realize that the paint is like extremely thin. And like as
Just
I'm
running.
doing it, it's
oh fuck!
No.
It's like bleeding.
You're like, I meant for it to do that.
so like, but to have it like be filmed while I'm doing it,
It's all like
was
Merry
just, like,
Christmas.
very
How'd you play it off on your
awesome.
face?
So I had to just like, you know, what do you do? Like go with it, you know. So like cleaning up the edges, and there was like some smudge. I had to come back and clean it up, and then wait for it all to dry to do like my highlights. But I mean, it ended up looking okay. It was just like one of those moments where like, you know, something comes up and it's just like,
Of course
oh
the
my
camera's
god, how
there.
am I going to deal with this? And that's like the feeling that I felt when I couldn't find green paint. And It's just like, you know, but you get creative, and that's what we are. We're creative
You were
people, so we figure it
Forced to
out.
find a solution at some point.
Yeah.
Oh man, the younger gentleman that was on the PBS crew was really cracking me up because he was the one running up and down the hills, like really getting the footage from all over the park. They're like, "You got the young legs, you go all over. We're gonna interview people by the street." The rest of the crew. It was so funny. He was running around, got my leg day in, ha ha ha. It was really cool to see them canvas the park and, you know, take B-roll and, you know, do their jobs around us doing the thing we're doing. It was really neat.
Definitely.
And I'm sure the people of Waverly would still appreciate the art and whatnot. There are plenty of donations and organizations you can donate to them. I should probably put a link to that in this episode just for shits and giggles and maybe help a little bit. But yeah, I'll put links to all that if I can find them. And shout out Waverly Walls Art Park, Kansas Klein, Never Extinct, all those cats helping us come out there and brighten up that community a little bit a couple times a year. But those are some demons to handle. Like the irony of you getting caught on camera with just the mad drip of paint just straight down the wall.
I can tell you, I don't handle those types of things well. You know, I can't
Just
even
drop it, run away.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm out.
You know, people that like to hover behind your screen and watch you as you like make their changes and stuff. It's just
That's why you
I
also
just-
need that second monitor.
I do. I'm actually used to having like 2 or 3 monitors. You know, I come from corporate world. I
Dealing with a
know.
badass over here.
Yeah, no, I mean, the corporate life wasn't for me, obviously, but I do miss having all those monitors because that was pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And having like 3 file cabinets to myself, and I miss all that. But I wouldn't trade it for, you know, a team or a crew like I have now of a bunch of weirdo creatives. Everyone is artistic in their own little way. Everyone can draw flames with a knife. I thought that was my thing, but like everyone can do it where I work, and
Well, what the funny part about that is seeing everybody's flames because they're all different.
they are. I mean, they're all tribal flames, but I mean, you can tell who did it. You haven't even seen mine yet.
No, you're holding out. I don't know how you didn't get in on the Nissan we were all working on that day.
Well, no, like Louis got in my head about me holding my knife wrong. But is there a right way to hold an X-Acto knife?
Yeah, there's all kinds of ways. It's the way that cuts.
Yeah, he got in my head, so now I don't like people watching me cut with
If
my
you
knife.
cut the thing and you don't bleed, you did it right. I'm pretty sure that's how the X-Acto knife etiquette goes. As long as you didn't bleed and the thing is cut, you're good.
I haven't been back there in a while, but I used to cut myself all the time.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I mean
You
that's
should openly admit that to the world just then.
no, I mean that's part of the job. I've always been.
I've never
always
cut
been in
myself.
production.
Not
I've always
once.
had X-Acto knives. I've always cut myself.
Promise, never done it.
I've always
Trust me, wink,
burned
wink.
myself with the wax. I've always.
Candle wax.
I know. I'm gonna always see Adam with like this intense like Jackson Pollock with wax, just like cleaning it, like
That's what I go for, Jackson Pollock.
That's
in
exactly
the
how.
dark. Only lights are from the
The candles he's
from the
slinging
flame.
around?
Yes.
I'm here for it.
Oh yeah.
That needs to be a thing. You could also do light painting with it since you're flinging around candles. You could withdraw many mediums out of this thing.
So
It's rich.
anti everything I am in so many ways.
Oh, I see a very expensive promo coming up at the end for the show.
So it sounds like this project's going to have a lot of demons in it for you.
That would.
We'll face them as a team.
I could do it as like a one night only performance art thing as
Perfect.
a character.
Oh, that's very
Perfect.
performance arty. Yes.
As a
It,
character.
it does crack me up how, just since you mentioned JP, how at this point kids know about Jackson Pollock. Like it's a style, you know? Cracks me up because, he was not like a great person.
No, he's not the role model.
or-
Harry is pretty much a piece of shit.
He was pretty much. I mean, you were pretty much terrorizing the canvas, and image that I had of you with wax. and all
But that's
that
what he would do with a bunch of colors, just like you son of a bitch, and just get at it.
Yeah, anger.
More whiskey.
Yeah.
More pee.
Yeah, not Bob Ross.
Yeah.
No happy dribbles.
Yeah. Oh no.
That's why I said it would have been an expensive promo, emotionally expensive as well.
Oh, that's true.
Yes,
We will all
emotionally
be
expensive.
traumatized afterwards.
But I'm proud of the trauma because I put the idea in his head a little bit. I'm not sorry about
And damn
this
it,
at all.
we got a promo.
No.
One night only, Knoxville City Coliseum. Adam Rowe, the artist formerly known as Adam Rowe.
I could do it. I could do it for one night. For one show.
Tickets $30, one night only.
Bring your own
Must see it now.
Must see.
Because he's resigning after
One and one night only, farewell tour.
That's
premiere / farewell tour. Ugh.
I'm sorry for what we've done to you.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's equally capable of doing the same thing to himself by himself at home, thinking in his favorite chair.
Perhaps.
This is the torture of being a creative person in Knoxville, Tennessee in the year 2021, everyone. Just so we all know, this is an accurate timestamp of the time and date and feelings we all share at this time. Being a creative person. Sure, it's fun, everybody. Have we talked enough about how it tortures us yet?
It is a torture. Yeah, it is.
The general double-edged swordness of living this lifestyle is great.
Like the other day, I was doing a stupid drawing, and I put my coffee mug on top of it, and some of my coffee got on my paper, and I was like,
Now it's perfect.
maybe I should fucking do this with some coffee. And I tried doing it, and now I'm like obsessed with like trying to paint my shit with coffee. And now
See,
just everything smells like fucking coffee.
That
I'm like,
I love that shit
I just-
so much.
Do
I'm all
cannabis
about
ashes
it.
count? Because I've done it with cannabis ashes.
I tried it because what?
Cannabis ashes.
Oh, I thought you said with
I-
grandma's ashes. I was like, dude,
Some people,
fucking what?
that's real,
just got
Kevin.
jumped.
Yeah, I
Some
was like,
people
wait a
do that. Some people do
A lot
that.
more commitment.
Like, is
It
this?
is a lot more commitment. Granny, trust me, you got to get in the resin. Like,
It's mixed with charcoal. No one will know the difference.
Right.
I mean, that's essentially what you got at the end of it, anyway.
Wow, that's tragic.
Well, then why do people pay thousands of dollars to have grandma framed and hung on the wall?
Wait, what?
Not that person.
People will actually put their relatives' cremated remains in paintings and in like resin things and have it as a memorial object. I'm so serious.
You can
I
also
mean, I
get
guess
them
it's better to
pressed
just
into
like
a
have my
vinyl.
cat at 10.
Yes, that
Yeah,
too.
you can get your grandma.
This is Grandma's favorite song. It's Coal Miner's Daughter by Loretta Lynn.
You know, you can actually do it to where they put them in bullet casings with gunpowder, and you can just fire off like 50 rounds of Grandpa. Like,
Wow.
freedom Grandpa just down the range.
They
no
also-
full auto in the building. Yeah.
Dang.
They also make like tree bullets. You know, you can fire it into the ground and you become a fertilized tree seed, or
Yeah,
you know,
dude.
you can be put into a little capsule and shot into space. And
You can
honestly,
be
I'd probably just
immortalized
rather be a
in
tree.
So many crazy ass ways now.
Yeah, you can be tattooed in someone's
Yeah, that's right.
like actual person.
You're like, fuck.
You can be tattooed into like a QR code that like
Yes.
goes to a website or into like something that like
waves.
plays music or
Yeah,
audio.
yeah. People did it with their like grandparents or fathers, whoever's like deceased relative, their voice, and they'll put the
waveform?
wave on it,
Yeah,
and then when
and
you
it'll, like,
scan it with
play-
that, it'll play their voice back, and then they just cry, and I'm like,
Can you imagine doing that with
That's rough.
someone's actual ashes? So that's like hella meta.
that's yeah.
But I mean, would it sound like if they had gravel in their mouth, like chewing on ashes?
No,
is
it
no
sounds
fun.
like an actual like MP3 recording.
Yeah.
It's
it's
kind of
pretty
creepy,
weird.
but kind of cool.
It's trippy
That's
as hell.
super creepy.
It is super creepy.
Is it creepy, Terry? You're the only one that hasn't said anything about this one.
I'm
yet.
She's like, I'm
really
shook.
Freaked out.
open-minded. Like I'm just like taking it all in.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing they do.
There are a lot of creative ways that I've seen people embellish things or create things in general with cremated remains and
Cremains.
cremains. All right.
Like it.
I think I would rather just be in a jar on somebody's mantle or in space or a tree. Like that's where I fall on it. Like if my family's going to be cool enough to put me on a rocket into space, I'm here for it.
Dude, I'm the kind of person I've always said, like, I don't want a fucking funeral. I don't want to go in a box. I don't want none of that shit. Like, I'm from a Hispanic family, and they see that whole afterlife shit in a different way. I don't want to. I'm always like, cremate me, put me in a water bottle, chuck me in the ocean, get on with your fucking life. Smoke a blunt, have a shot, go, deal with it. Like,
Do some Big Lebowski stuff from a cliff in the wind.
yeah, dude. Honestly, like I was watching a movie the other day. I don't even know what it's called. It's like this dude who's like raising his family off of the grid, and they're like in this van, and it's like him and like 6 kids. All right.
What? No,
And they're
Fantastic.
no, thank you.
The what?
Mr. Fantastic.
I don't know. Is it?
Sorry.
Maybe it might have been it. Yeah, and like
No, I
they
need
carry
to
around
know.
the
We
mom's
need to
like
know.
remains in a coffee like pot thingy, and they just carry it around like that. I'm like, that's interesting. That's one way to do it. So,
My grandma's ashes is a nice little urn on the hearth in the fireplace in the kitchen
yeah.
of my parents' house, and that's pretty appropriate. I feel like, you know.
It's rough. It's rough. In Peru, growing up when we were younger, like I remember when my great aunt died, Catholic tradition said we have to keep her body in the home, open, for at least 2 days. So
Oh, yeah.
as a kid, I'd
I'm
walk
also-
around
I'm
and I'm
Roman
like,
Catholic.
I'd see her dead ass body. I'm just trying to get some water. I'm like, man, I'll wait till tomorrow morning. I'm good.
That didn't eventually become normal to you. Did for me.
It shouldn't have been. Like now that I'm like, I look back at it, I'm like, yeah, it wasn't.
That really
normal.
is
It's
weird.
like in my head it was. I'm like rewiring that. I'm like, no, it wasn't.
Well,
Like,
I'll
that's
probably go to
not
therapy
okay.
for that.
Yeah, yeah.
later,
Like
thanks to you.
yeah.
Now.
this will come up in a
Just
therapy
uncovered
session
some
someday.
like
Repressed
repressed childhood trauma, Tanya.
Yeah, that probably is bothering me in some weird way. It's like scratching the back of my subconscious.
It always comes up for me every so often. I'll remember that. I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, yeah.
Okay,
This
therapy's
has
good.
this has nothing to do with the topic. I've had too much beer. I'll be back.
Yeah.
I wonder who the first person to get up to pee
I
was.
thought it would be you, man. You've been
I'll
drinking
give you
that whole
$1
dose.
if you grab me another wine.
It's always funny. The scenario at the point where somebody gets to that point, it's
Yeah.
always like there's like some weird eye contact or like I
I saw him
can't.
inching out of his seat, and I'm just like, something's
Something's
crazy
about to happen.
gonna happen,
So-
or he has to use the bathroom.
That's one of the funny parts about this very specific like niche social interaction that we're in right now, because somebody's like, "Oh, can you pause it?" And I'm like,
No.
"Well, no,
No,
like
I
just go
can't.
pee."
Just don't do it.
and you know it's a little less weird when there's like 3 other people in
Right.
the room instead of it's just like you and you're just sitting here like, oh well, you know, my guest has gone to pee. If I had a dialogue for a commercial to put in right now, this
I
is
will
where
fill
I
in
put
this
it.
awkward sounds all by myself. Yay.
So there was I'll do a really like Matrix throwback here in the podcast I did with Lou called The Leftovers. Nathan would do this commercial called Gravel Depot, and it'd be for graveldepot.com. And if you called up this fictional website, they would just drop you at any random time 5 tons of gravel. And it's like, you know what Chip Drop is?
Oh, yeah.
We're not sponsored by Chip Drop,
No,
people.
what the fuck?
So Chip Drop is this service you call, and they will order you a set quantity of wood chips.
Between now and like 9 years from now.
So they'll give you a
Shows up
delivery
forever.
window. So we'll get it to you on Tuesday night, either there or like between that and Friday morning.
So if you move, it'll get there though, even though you're not there anymore.
I've heard
Yeah.
really, really hilarious
That
stories.
sucks.
So,
Chip drop.
so this is what it is. Like it's just the random service that
Yeah.
that whatever it happens. But this was this. But for Gravel Depot, that
That's
was the
amazing.
shtick for Gravel Depot. And you know, if you need blah 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 rails of gravel, you just call graveldepot.com.
That sounds like some Rick and Morty shit,
I
dude.
mean,
Like-
kinda.
Order
It
wood
was-
chips 9 years from now.
It was just
But
the
it's like
bullshit.
a service that people need.
That's-
It's like, I'll get you your 5 tons of gravel. It'll be between, you know, three
Now and-
3 weeks from now and March. Like, you know.
yeah, of 2032.
Yeah, exactly.
What a fun surprise.
So you're just sitting around the house, like, waiting for your shit all week. Like, is my gravel going to come? Is my gravel going to come? And if it's chip drop, you're just like, where that wood at? Like, you know, when's it coming? It's
I would
going
go
to fall out of the back of this
crazy
truck.
for that, like the wood chips to show up. I couldn't do it. I'm like, between now and what, 4 months, I'll forget it.
No, I really think they give you like a week's window. In all seriousness, so
I'd
you
be
get
so
a 7-day
heated.
window when you're going to get these wood chips, or some
My irrational
Reasonably.
fear is keeping me from even trying it.
I
some
forget
some
things too easy,
reasonable,
so I would forget, and they would get there, and I'd be
Isn't-
pissed.
and just
then-
be tons of wood chips in your yard.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Isn't that your 3rd bottle?
Yeah.
Going in.
They're small bottles. That was just a joke.
No. They're large bottles.
They're full size bottles.
and
Thank you. I have to work. My boss might be listening.
and since we're broadcasting live and we really need to start the show,
You need
I
to
think
push
she's
through.
doing just fine.
That's hilarious.
That is true. I forgot we were using that revolutionary new technology that actually, as listeners, you are listening to this live
Yeah.
right this second.
Yeah,
No one
you're also
listening
not
that
dead
knows
if you're
he's
listening to
gonna be
this.
surprised
So
by
live
stuff.
and alive. It's great. It's a wonderful user experience. It's just absolutely fantastical.
Yeah.
It's great.
Big facts.
Verbal circus, that is.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for, right?
PP. AP.
Yeah, that. Whatever you just said. So, Adam, did we get to detail any of your creative demons?
Time.
As of late? Time?
It's just time.
That's the only one?
Time. I used to think my favorite superhero was Batman.
And what
Okay.
happened?
Well,
Time.
let me continue. I mean, he is awesome because he's, you know, like everybody with unlimited resources, you know, we can all identify with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Unlimited resources.
Yeah,
I definitely
why
identify.
not be a hero? But I've come to terms with the fact that my favorite really is the Flash, because
He can travel time?
with enough time you could just solve every problem. It's not that deep. Yeah, I just wish I had more time
Yeah, but time is still
to
time
do
is
everything.
great.
I wish every day could be like today, at least 25 hours long. Have you all read The Hitchhiker's Guide?
Yeah, I know where my towel is.
Okay. Do you remember when he's on the planet with the perfectly normal beasts?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember how long each day was?
Was it 25
It
hours?
was like 26, 20...
It was something slightly longer than a normal
just
day.
enough for like a nap in the middle of the day, but it didn't offset everything else. That's my dream. That
I may actually get like a full lunch.
You could actually have an authorized nap and not have to worry about it.
That's
yeah,
true.
today's nap was so unauthorized. I still have so many questions regarding that nap.
How did I get here? Who are you? That's my purse. I don't know you.
Yeah, I was like, and I woke up in a different world. It was kind of nice.
That's a good nap, though. When
Yeah,
you woke up, you're
I
just
was-
discombobulated as fuck, like
I was out.
quality.
I love it when one falls asleep and you wake up and it's 12 hours before when you think you were going to wake up. So it's like 8 p.m. and you're just woken up. Brain's like, oh God, it's 8 a.m. I'm late. And then you look outside and it's the wrong kind of dark outside. And it's like, wait, what?
That happens to my kid all the time. She's always like, is it breakfast or dinner?
God, I miss those days.
That's the most relatable question this entire time.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I knew it was a good nap because I woke up a little scared.
Yeah.
Like I woke up
Yeah, that's a good
yeah.
nap. Yeah.
Yeah.
What have I done?
No, it was literally like, where am I? How did I get here?
And you just woke up on your couch, right? Like,
Yeah, well, yeah. But I wasn't supposed to be in that room.
Alien abductions are weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't, I'm like, I don't know how I got into this.
do you remember
room.
any bright lights or whirring noises?
Well, no, they delete that part. You don't get to remember that part. You remember how the fuck did I get
well,
here?
after you take your molars out.
Oh well, yeah. You gotta take out the tracking thing. Yeah, he's right.
It's funny because my daughter did lose a tooth like 30 seconds after I woke up.
Well, there you go.
See, she needs to get her a complimentary tinfoil hat now.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have a lot of questions. Today was a really fuzzy day.
Well, do you have any pressing questions that we can answer in this group, or are they all just like super personal and they're just so mind-boggling you dare attempt to answer them?
Well, I mean, my biggest question is how do I follow everyone online? Like, how do I follow your careers and what you're up to and where you're going to be and where I can see your art and what you guys up to?
Okay, so we're asking like work in progress questions now because we can talk about that.
Yeah, work in progress and just, you know, how do you market yourselves? How do I find you?
Oh, I'm
You guys, are
pure-
like, you guys
I'm
are like food trucks. I'm impressed with that.
I'm purely on Meta. No, just
If you can't
He's like,
VR
"You
me,
find my
then you're not following my shit.
OnlyFans."
Oculus,
people
fuck
will
off.
people will listen to this years later and they'll be like, "Yeah, very funny joke." Real quickly, I just have an aside. I just remember the first time that I saw a website like at a movie theater. It gave the URL on the screen, and I made some kind of joke really loud, like, "Oh yeah, let me get out my cellular ISDN thing," and blah blah blah, and everybody laughed because it was like there was a URL on the screen.
Yeah, who's
That-
going to
Like,
type
who's
that in
obviously
right
Oh,
now?
I'm gonna type that in.
Yeah.
What?
And it's only up there for 3 seconds anyway, so by the time you got your device out.
So that's my new joke then, the meta thing.
I'm here for it. I'm 100% here for meta satire.
I think I
100%.
dropped a meta joke earlier.
Yeah, you did. I heard it.
Yeah, it's officially that episode.
We're there as a society. So, Adam, I think you got a pretty good way of going about yourself, and I don't feel like you catered to a lot of people's opinions when it comes to how you market yourself. You just put it out there and say, this is the thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do.
And I'm pretty similar, and I think it works pretty well for my mental health as far as that goes. Like, it's black and white at that point. You either like it or you don't, and it's available, and you can either buy it or you won't.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I know this may seem silly. I was talking to my spouse about this earlier because I got her flowers the other day. Maybe this is worse because now I'm telling everybody. Anyway, I got her flowers and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put it on my Instagram," and I couldn't help it. I gave her a look, which was like,
You don't have
please
to.
don't do that.
You're undoing me giving you flowers.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
But sort of not. I mean, it wasn't like she was thinking, like,
Right.
time to brag. Yeah. But then she was like, geez, am I bragging? So it was like, like all these thoughts. So
Like threw her into an existential crisis.
Here's some flowers, babe. Like,
Yeah, what you gonna do about it?
and that was my goal. No. So that reminded me of that whole conversation. But I was mentioning how oddly it made me feel a lot better to have different accounts for things, like one that's just like personal, like where I can say like, hey, I read this book, here people that I already know, check it out, and like I'm like, yes, 3 likes, oh okay, it was so and so and so. Yeah, okay, cool, we're communicating. And a different one for professional kind of stuff. It has made I almost said all the difference in the world. It's made a big difference though, because it makes it more fun to do both things, like actually communicate with people I already know, and to put stuff out there for people who I may or may not know.
My brother suggested to me a long time ago. He's 9 years younger than me, so like a little bit more savvy on these things than I am, and he's like real into TikTok and Instagram and things like that. And he kept suggesting to me to make a separate account for like my yoga page, and he wanted me to like make all this, all these like silly videos and all these things. He wanted me to make a big deal out of it, but I'm like, dude, I'm like 40. I'm not gonna do that. I don't have time for that shit. But now that I'm in this yoga teacher training, and I have all these like new yoga friends, and these are like actual yoga friends that like do like real yoga things. We're all friends on Instagram, and I'm sure they're like scrolling through my page, like seeing like what a complete asshole I've been for the past 3 years. I mean, I have actually contemplated taking down my videos, like all my pictures and stuff, just because it just doesn't seem authentic anymore now that I'm going through the actual experience, and even a little bit with what I'm going through with like my new job. Now that I'm like, car designer and all that stuff, I feel like it doesn't, devaluate the things that I've done. But I just feel like a completely different artist now. I feel like a different person. And I look back at my page and it's like a totally different person.
Well, I
It's so
guess
strange
you
to
know
me.
more about the things now, so it sheds a different context, puts a different light on the topic now.
Speaking of existential crisis, you know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah, go delete that shit. Feel better about it.
Yeah, it's so weird. But instead, like I said, I'm just gonna enjoy the journey, and you'll see me doing the same poses, but you'll just see me supported with blocks and straps, and just being smart about it, and trying to be a better teacher. And
I wouldn't
things like
delete
that.
anything. I think that would be like throwing away an old sketchbook.
That's exactly how I'm very nostalgic, I'm very sentimental. Like, it's kind of gross. I thought about it, but I could never.
It's a good reminder, though. You know,
It
you
is.
got to be able to see those little things. How are you going to appreciate where you're going if you can't look back and be like, look, like it's not that you were an ass for posting that stuff. It's just you were doing something you liked without the proper technique, and now you're doing it the right way. So if anything, it's like a reflection of you. You're already better today than those pictures and videos. Like
This is my new version of being reckless in my 30s.
Right.
You know, like, look at me, oh my god.
I'm gonna go let my
crazy.
dog in here.
Yeah.
But
We all
yeah,
just
it's
yell.
like another journal, it's
Should we
like
just
another
yell in the mic?
diary. It is nice to have, but at the same time, it's you know, like the kids say now, so cringe.
Right.
Like, so cringe to
Oh
look back
boy,
at
cringy.
it.
Oh boy, cringy is cringy.
But I think
Yeah.
that goes back, like,
Just like-
we're our own worst critic. It goes back to that same old, like, cheesy saying, you know, like, nobody's thinking those things of you, you know, except yourself. You're just,
I know, but if you see me scrolling through my Instagram page, it'll be like 45 minutes straight of me just be like, ooh,
Shit, I said that. Like, hey,
that
doggy.
guy. Yeah. So it's been a fun year. It's been a fun year of growth. Big growth this year.
Everybody else keeps old sketchbooks, right? Like terrible.
Yeah,
Things
I
I
they
do. I've
drew in
never,
middle
yeah,
school. Okay.
yeah.
I just cleaned up my studio today, and I purged a lot of things. I love purging. That's like my new thing. Since COVID, everything's got to go.
Like from the movies, or?
It's like, what
I
the?
was like,
Oh,
Well, that's
yeah.
not totally.
Okay, right.
I keep that movie very far from my life. That
was like,
movie
wait a
like
second.
creeps me out in so many different ways.
Gotcha.
But no, not
Right.
like that.
got it. Getting rid of the old.
Yeah, getting rid of all kinds of stuff, but I cannot get rid of my sketchbooks. I cannot
Yeah.
get rid of my diaries. I cannot get rid of my drawings.
Because they're an
My
extension of
daughter's
you.
drawings.
That's an important thing.
Yeah, I mean her stuff's bad because she is prolific. She uses more scrap paper and notebook covers and drink labels and
Wait,
napkins
who does?
and my daughter.
Yeah.
It's
Okay, so
it
here's.
is unlike anything you've ever seen.
I don't know.
No.
How many kids do you have?
One.
Okay, so I have
She's
3.
amazing.
I'm just saying.
She's amazing enough for her.
Not necessarily 3 times more knowledgeable, but get her involved in the digital archiving of her stuff. and
I
then you
have
can-
been digitally archiving her
Well,
stuff.
you could throw it away then.
Oh yeah, no, and I do.
Oh, okay.
But I still have boxes of stuff because I work now. I have a full-time job,
Yeah.
so like I can't just sit there. It used to be my pleasure. I had like a little backdrop. It was like
Okay.
a black sheet. I went to Target and bought a black sheet so I could sit there like take little photographs.
Right.
And, like, and it's one of my very favorite things in my Dropbox. I have like terabytes of her art. But I've been slacking, and my scanner's broken, and but yeah, she needs to start doing it now. She's 7, 8 years old, and she's getting a camera for Christmas, but she doesn't know yet. So, but she'll hopefully start doing that stuff herself.
What are you guilty of, dog?
Hopefully, I taught her to appreciate and love her artwork as much as I do.
Right.
I don't have a huge ego about my art, but I do love everything I create, no matter how junky and stupid it is. I love all over it. I'm like, oh, you're horrible, but I made you. I
Yeah.
took time. We spent time together. Me, you, wine, and some.
I cut myself, so
Non-adult
there's
rape,
literally
right.
blood in you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Yeah, all those special coffee. I wasted coffee on your ass. I love this.
I like telling the client I cut myself working on the piece because the first thing they're just like, and then the second piece when they realize like you probably bled on it, it goes from to ooh.
Like you told me that the last 4 times I bought something from you. Are you okay?
Is this intentional?
Right.
Good with the knife.
I don't know, man. 3 left thumbs, like you know.
No, I really have chopped my finger off creating her. Like, see that bubble? That's where I grew it back. Seriously, I was taking like all kinds of supplements, using herbs. Like, I grew that back. They tried to reattach it, like it was cut like down to the
Holy
bone. Yeah,
shit.
they tried to reattach it, and like when they took the bandages off,
It's all fucky.
it didn't.
fuck
It
yes.
didn't
Oh, no.
attach. So then,
No.
but it grew back.
I would say my body rejected it. I just think that sounds so cool when people say that.
It's like your body rejected your body?
My body was like, hell no.
No, you've been excommunicated. You stay excommunicated.
Wow, that's pretty hardcore.
That is gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in a rush.
What were you doing exactly?
I was cutting out the placard, the title placard for. I was supposed to get a painting down to the Emporium to for
It's the establishment's
showing.
fault.
And I was like running late, and someone was talking to me, and like my stress went into that the X-Acto like hopped over the ruler and chop.
Oh my gosh.
Two grown men sit here and go, ugh.
No, I mean, I have,
No, it's a brand new X-Acto, so it didn't hurt
Everything
at all.
was perfect.
that's what I love X-Actos for that reason. But I have so many stories about, cutting myself and almost losing limbs. I used to be a plate maker. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but yeah, the newspaper.
You don't have to be
plates-
quiet about
The
it.
plates were basically, they were
Oh, that's
basic-
right. They can't tell when I raise my hand. I just raised my hand. Sorry.
He said, I do. But they're basically huge rubber stamps, but they're metal plates. But, an image is basically like laser burned onto it, and then it's ran through a washer a few times, and what's not lasered sinks down, and so there's a raised image afterwards. But the plates, after they come out of the wash and they're dried, they're, one, super hot, and they're super sharp. So if you drop a plate vertically, like just the right way,
You lose your toes.
all your toes, like you can lose half your foot. This thing is like sharp as
Oh my
hell, and they're
God.
heavy. It's like little baby guillotines. Like
Doesn't sound very baby to me if you could lose all 10 toes at once.
Like a sheet of razor blade.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
sheet razor,
yeah, exactly.
basically.
What were the dimensions, like, overall on this
Fucking
sheet
like
of metal?
like a newspaper page.
Okay.
Like exactly. And so, let's say that you had a 24-page paper. You would have that times 4 because you would need one for CMYK. Represented like an ink. And so they would all have to register to the same spot, and then it would line up and it would stamp an image. So if one was like slightly off,
Just fuck it
you get a
all.
fuzzy image. Like, and so it was my job to kind of just tweak everything and
That is a work hazard.
and make the plate. Oh, it was one of the most baddest ass jobs I ever had. I felt like, I mean, I was like a little itty bitty kid, weighed like 90 pounds, but I was like, whoa.
Look
I
at
was
me.
like, yeah, making full fucking newspapers and stuff by my damn self.
Getting the information out there.
That was at the Saginaw News. I love that job. But those plates were sharp, and
Did you ever injure yourself with them for real?
I never chopped off a toe, but I did, slice here, slice here, slice here, slice here. Try to put them on my shoulder, slice here.
Ah,
Golly,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
But if you have like a stack of 24, the cuts aren't as bad because it can't like slice into you.
yeah, it spreads out, the pressure is a little
It's
different.
more like an axe.
Yeah.
Is this like a Gillette commercial? Like, holy crap. It's like,
We've got
close
20,
razor
24 blades. The first
24
23 to lift the hair off your face. The,
rest
the
to get
last
that-
one
To get that
the
pesky epidural off.
The newspaper one,
Yes.
the newspaper one modern. I lost my job as a plate maker to like a huge, like 3-story machine laser cutter type thing. I got to see the facility. I didn't realize. I mean, I had an inkling that I was gonna lose my job, but they're like, "Here's the machine that's gonna take your job."
Oh, they
It's
tried to
the
woo you
coolest
first?
thing. I thought I was gonna end up working there, but I just got
Repairing the
I
machine.
just got booted. I didn't care what I did. I just wanted to like work in this building's like year 3000. But the very last plate that we ran through there, I kept it.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
don't know if they knew like that I kept it, but I kept
At this point, I think statute of limitations are on your side.
I kept 2 pages: the front page of the Saginaw News and the comics. The front page of
Hey,
the comics.
there you go. The important ones.
And I taped off the edges because I'm not going to that company ever again.
So is that a thing you like frame and put behind glass and gonna hang in the house? How are you gonna display that?
I always meant to. I probably will someday, but
That's the
right now
intent.
it's hidden because honestly I'm terrified of it. It's like like that fucking car carry. It's got like a personality.
That's funny.
It cut me a couple times after I brought it home. That's why I'm like I'm taping all the edges off. Like taped it maybe 4
Pool
or 5
noodles.
times.
Just put pool noodles all around it.
She's gonna hang it up in the house, and the FBI are gonna be like, "We're here to take the property." You know,
Right.
they bust
Like,
in.
oh, you're gonna have to kill me for it.
We're here for your stuff.
No,
Theft.
every time I see it, I tape the edges because I'm just like, okay, it's been a few years, and
Yeah.
like that. I just probably I'll have to show it to you guys.
So it's got like a tape buffer, a 1/4 inch thick around all the edges, where you just look at it every 6 months. You're like, "Not today, motherfucker."
And I'm still scared of it. I'm legit still scared to look at it.
You should definitely hang those in the kitchen.
It's like a bright orange rubber stamp. It's like clown shoes. Where just, they can instill so much fear.
Definitely in the kitchen. Actually, you should hang it like on the opposite wall from where you got my piece of art hanging in your kitchen. That's where you should put it.
I'm gonna bring it to work and hang it like in the bathroom or something, so I can hear someone scream like, "Ah!" And I'll be like,
help
someone's
things
messing
along,
with the
yeah,
page
right
on the
in the
wall.
You should put one in. So you said you got 2, right? Put one in the regular bathroom and the one in the executive bathroom.
I think I taped them back to back, though. You know, 'cause
That's
I didn't
better than
wanna-
when we worked at the music studio. In the men's restroom, there was a picture of Mariah Carey. So
Right
every time-
behind the toilet.
Right in front of it. So like I'm just standing there. I'm like, Mariah, like, what do you know?
All she wants for Christmas is.
Yeah. No, they've let her out,
Ew.
but yeah, it's just weird. Like,
There was a lot of stuff hanging in both of those restrooms, though.
yeah, like Beatles, vinyls, and just too much.
I mean, true. We would stand there and piss, and like not together, you know,
No,
separately.
no,
But,
not all the time.
but you'd stand there and piss, and you'd be like looking at the wall dead in front of you, and there's just like a giant picture of Mariah Carey with a platinum album or
Yeah.
some shit.
It was just fucking weird.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, wow, Mariah Carey gets to brag about
That's
that
that's where we would have recorded this thing today.
Yeah, that's where we were supposed to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Fond memories of that restroom.
God,
Mhm.
fuck that place. Yeah, terrible place.
I mean, they were potentially nice enough to let us record there.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I won't.
yeah.
They're a glorious, wonderful place.
Yeah.
When we do part 2, we'll meet up there.
Yeah.
That's next weekend, though, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'll have my 6-year-old. It'll be great.
Yeah.
We'll all talk.
Next
I'll
weekend's
bring my bird.
birthday.
It'll be nice and
Dude,
quiet.
yeah, you can bring your bird.
Bring the bird in a cat purse. He'll scream the whole time. It'll be awesome.
You should. I think you left out some critical information about your bird earlier,
Oh.
and you should definitely tell everybody how the bird makes a little sex dungeon.
Oh, he does. He
I'm
does
sorry,
that.
what?
Yeah, he makes a sex dungeon. I also use him for World War II reenactments. He
I'm sorry,
plays
so
a
you
part
use
of a
him
plane.
for the sex dungeon and something else?
No, he makes his own sex dungeon, right?
I don't know the way you phrase it. You wanna
Yeah,
hear
right.
that?
I don't construct his
Hold it
sex
back.
dungeon. He likes to take whatever he finds. Like if I'm sitting on the couch, he'll like start burrowing into my couch, and he'll just get in there. Or like if there's pillows leaning against each other, he'll drag stuff in there, violently hump it, and then stick his head out and like look at me and just scream at me. And I'm like, what the hell? Like
Doesn't matter how it's sex.
it doesn't matter. Yeah, like
I invited you to the grotto and you
So,
didn't come here.
I used to give him the toilet paper little rolls after when the toilet paper's done. I used to think he liked to like play with it because I'll give them to him and I'd go upstairs and I just hear a bunch of squeaking and squawking. I'm like, oh, he's
But
having so
now
much
what
fun.
do you
And I
think?
go down there and he was like aggressively humping it. And so with those birds, you don't actually know. There's no physically distinguishing feature on them for you to be able to tell who's male or female.
That is
and
definitely a male bird.
And I always thought
Terry.
it was a female. I used to say it was a female. And then until I saw that atrocity, and then I was like scarred for life. It's your life changes when you see a baby bird hump the shit out of a cardboard toilet paper roll. Like I was never the same.
And scream with victory or
Yeah, his
we
screams
can only
were
assume victory at him.
his screams were weird. But so that's the first one. Second part, I use him to reenact scenes from World War II, particularly Pearl Harbor, and I just
Because they
fly him
also said they do
and he
toilet
loves
paper
it.
rolls. Terry.
He definitely does not like that, but he participates anyway.
So a
You have a
coworker.
twisted household, my
Yeah,
friend.
it's a fucking zoo in there. Like I tell people all the time, like be mentally prepared to come in here. My bird will try to ride my dog like a rodeo. Like it's crazy in there.
I've seen that happen.
Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
love it.
It's
They
fucking
charge
crazy.
your phones, you will run out of.
You'll run out of space. Like I
Yeah,
have a video on my
storage.
phone of that where like I used to. So the cones that I'm talking about with the cylinders, right? He will stick his whole fucking head inside of there, so where like half his body's in there, and he'll stand up and just like, eat. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'll take it off of him and I'll leave it on the cage, and then he runs back in there just like, and I'm like, all right. Obviously,
That bird needs a gimp suit. Anyone
yeah, he's
else?
fucking crazy, dude. He's absolutely crazy.
Well, so Tony and I have this coworker. He's pretty cool. He has a pet pigeon named named Peter,
I would say Peter.
and
Pete.
Peter. It's always Peter.
It's
always Peter.
Peter Main. And I've met Peter, and I've never like befriended a pigeon.
Yeah, they're really smart.
This is a cool bird. I
Yeah.
like Peter the pigeon. He's no joke.
Yeah, they're really smart birds. Apparently, mine's an idiot, but pigeons are really smart.
Well, you and this man are the only people I know that currently have birds for pets, and
Your bird sounds like it might have some
He's
psychopathic issues.
I
but
think
it's
like
very
the
pretty.
last 2 brain cells he got are working overtime for sure. He's a little special.
Needs yoga.
Yeah, he needs a lot of things. I mean, he's a good bird, I guess. It's
where do you
interesting.
find a bird psychiatrist?
Not in Knoxville, apparently.
Well, if you're a bird psychiatrist in or around the Knoxville area, I would love to have you on the KAAMP.
And we're multifaceted people here.
Please
Who's going to
help.
get into it first?
Surely somebody knows somebody. The world can be that small. Y'all come through for me. Send me a link.
Send me a fucking link.
Yeah, we need the bird psychologist and the bird psychiatrist, all the bird mental health people.
The bird whisperer.
He's popular with my online classes. So on Fridays, I teach an online Zoom class to a group in California. So it's self-defense online. It's terrible. But anyway, and so I'll do it from home, and the bird will just scream until I put him on my shoulder. And so then I'm trying to show these moves online, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, what kind of bird?" I'm like, "We're talking about stabbing people right now. Like, can you focus, please?"
No,
Like,
the bird needs its attention.
yeah,
and
because if I
attention
put him
it will
back, he's just
get.
like, "Eat, eat, eat." Just, I'm like, fuck. Like, all right.
So would you say this bird is one of the demons in your creative process?
Fuck yeah, dude. Absolutely. Absolutely. He's a freaking menace.
I vote for the bird being.
He's a
the
menace, dude. He's like he's not allowed back at like Thanksgiving dinner. Like we were saying grace, and I had him on my shoulders. My mom insisted that the bird be a part of the family pictures.
Because you drove up there with him, and you've done that a few times, right?
And
Like,
guess
I know
who
that you've
didn't
done
get
it.
to have macaroni that day because he fell right inside of it, dude.
Bird can't act right.
He just jumped off my shoulder straight into the macaroni, and the worst part was like as we're all trying to grab him, he's freaking the fuck out, running across the entire Thanksgiving spread, dude. Like
That is
just
such
feathers
bad
and wings and
manners.
everything everywhere. I'm
So,
like, dude,
so this is a very memorable Thanksgiving for your family.
it was awful.
We ended up winning $2 million on America's Funniest Video.
Right? We should. God, we should get surveillance.
I mean, because come on, that's
was
a
awful.
winner.
That's movie shit right there.
It's well, that's why I got him the cat purse. So there's a story of the cat purse.
So where do you hang the cat purse? Is it like crossbody around the waist?
I carry it like a satchel. Yeah.
Okay.
It just depends where I'm taking him. So, you know, if we're on a road trip, I take him from the house to the car, and then I release him in the car. He terrorizes the dog, hangs out on my hat. That's fine.
I've seen pictures of this. It does happen.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. It gets weird.
It delights me that I don't have to be subject to this, but I get to see it.
That's how I feel about like seeing people's pictures of their kids at home and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's cute, but like, I bet it ain't that fucking cute. Like,
Glad it ain't me, Hoss.
yeah, glad it ain't me, bro.
My daughter's actually that cute.
There you go.
But I mean, but I only have one.
Bias.
right.
Bias.
Well,
Bias.
bias and like she's actually that cute.
She's pretty cute, but you're over exaggerating.
She also is a bit of a monster, but
You should have said that first.
I mean, but in a fun way, in a way that I enjoy.
That's fair. I work with kids that are young as 4 years old, so like
You get it.
some of the parents are like, he's so nice. I'm like, the fuck he is.
You're
I want
the
Jimmy over
dick.
here. I'm like, he just kicked that boy in the dick. I'm like, that didn't seem too nice. Like, try that again.
No, my daughter's an actual real live like sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
For now,
Right.
Could change any day.
Good change.
yeah.
All it takes is one thing.
You know, the things that really set me off as a kid was when I saw something on an infomercial I really wanted, and then they would say, you can get 2 of these for free, and then be like, a separate charge for shipping and handling, and then I'd lose my shit.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Like, what if I just want one?
Yeah.
No,
Billy
that's
Mays
not
would
the
give you
deal.
3 of whatever.
That's not the deal.
You're getting 2,
Yeah,
and you're paying shipping
Mm-hmm.
for both.
yeah.
Didn't Billy Mays die from like getting hit in the head with a suitcase?
Oh, yeah, well, there was also cocaine involved.
Yes.
I'm
There's always
sorry.
cocaine involved.
I mean, it's Billy
So
Mays.
which one is it? It can't be both.
So
Was it a cocaine full of
it's
like
the
a
cocaine-
Suitcase full of cocaine? Nice.
It's that he wishes that were the case, and so does everybody else.
Okay, I get it.
It was the interaction of cocaine in one system and head trauma from a suitcase exiting an overhead compartment.
Comorbidities.
If I remember this correctly, if not, somebody please tell me the appropriate way Billy Mays died, so I don't have to like lead people astray with information I feel is factual at the time. So head trauma and cocaine. I bet a lot of people wish that they could go that way.
Or
but
I'll
erotic
take-
asphyxiation. It was
I'll
one of
take
those.
ways I don't
Alright, David
want to die
Carradine.
ever for 500 Thomas.
oh, say that again.
I don't want to die by a case full of anything.
Yeah, but you're rocking on the cocaine before this happened, so maybe it's one of those like yeah, and then lights out.
You might be so smacked you think you died of something fun.
Right.
Well, I mean, he was, what is it? Disboarding a plane. He was trying to exit a plane, so he was in a mildly social scenario, and then he had expectations thrust upon them and did not perform.
God, I would hate to die like that, dude. Like, in a plane full of people, and they just see you get hit in the head with a suitcase.
You
That's
holding
it.
up
You're
the
just
line.
dead. Like,
You're
that's
just in
it.
the floor in the aisle, just
You're
like
just looking all
That
stupid
makes
and
it
hurt.
really hard for you to like pretend that you died a different way.
Right, like you're always that guy who got hit by a suitcase.
There's
When
six-
someone else dies, like a witness dies, like 4 months later, like, dude, you got hit
Yeah.
with the suitcase. You're like, no, I didn't. I died from.
There's like no cool way of passing that up.
well, so you
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
the
eating
pearly
cake. What are
gates,
you
and
talking
St.
about?
Peter's like, haha, I saw that shit, and you're like, yeah, it was the cocaine. And he's like, no, it wasn't.
No,
It was mostly the suitcase. though.
He's like, and now I'm in hell.
it was mostly
What
the
happened?
suitcase.
Yeah, there's no way you can deny it, because even if there's no pictures taken, there's still like the other 63 people that were on this plane in line behind you. Your
They're all
dead
gonna
ass in
die
the floor.
sometime.
They're like, what's holding up the line? Like, Billy Mays is dead.
Billy fucking Mays got hit in the head with a suitcase.
Billy
Do we
was
have to
sorry.
charge shipping and handling to get him off this plane? Like,
No, it was full of cocaine.
Just for the record, I have nothing against Billy Mays.
Nah,
Oh,
he sold great
Just say
products.
on
none of us are expressing disgust about Billy Mays. It's just the irony surrounding his demise is
Now
far
the
too
ShamWow
funny.
guy, that guy's totally different.
Well,
He got hit by a hooker.
dude, that hooker
Beat
tried
the
to bite
fuck-
his lip off or
Dude, but
something.
she or he
who-
beat the
who
brakes
got
on
bitten
him.
and
The
hit?
ShamWow guy.
Vince.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Vince the ShamWow guy.
Oh,
He,
that really
he got
loud
arrested
fellow.
for like domestic assault or some kind of shit. He got in a fight with a hooker.
Yeah.
And the way I've heard it, it's like they were in the heat of the moment and something didn't click, and she started to bite his face or his tongue or something, and then blows were exchanged and they got in a fight.
I
Again.
thought it was because he had found out it was not a female hooker,
That may be part of it.
and then
That just
he
sounds
got
like a fun
very.
little tidbit someone added after the
I mean,
fact.
I feel like that's what I
Spice up
remember
the
it was
story
because
a
he got
little
super
bit.
pissed and then assaulted the person, and the person obviously assaulted him back, and then he, got put in
That
jail
that
for it.
may or may not be true. This is another listener supported moment in the KWA.
No, this is
See if
super
y'all can
factual.
tell us
Fallible here?
why Vince the ShamWow guy got in a fight with a hooker. I'd really
This is super
appreciate it.
factual.
Say, like, once again, I don't have anything against this guy.
Right.
But it sounded like he had something coming.
It's maybe, but then again, both people in this scenario might have deserved an ass whooping for different reasons. So I can't say this is too far out of both people being at fault, because it sounds
both
like
played
these two
stupid
people
games.
involved had a lot of things to say to one another.
Yeah. They just said it in a really loud way that ended both their lives.
Well, I can't say I've seen him plugging any products on TV since then. Maybe one or two. Kevin, have you seen Vince the ShamWow guy on TV lately in,
No,
in
but
a
I'm
serious?
seeing his mug shots right now. They're pretty awesome.
You know,
He a TV veteran?
you know who else has really good mugshots?
No, do tell.
Tim Allen has a great.
Oh
mug.
my
He
god, Tim
does.
Allen's a fucking rat.
But Tim Allen has a great everything.
He's a snitch.
Have you seen Tim Allen's
Yeah,
mugshot?
you didn't know he got out of jail or avoided jail by ratting out a bunch of his friends on a cocaine deal.
Yeah, he was arrested
Back
for
in, like,
cocaine
the-
possession in
I'm
Texas.
sorry, we're talking about
and,
something
yeah.
the guy did back in like 1970.
Tim the Toolman Taylor? Tim Allen?
I'm
Yeah.
from Michigan. I know all about this
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, well, he liked cocaine. Who'd have thunk it?
Wow.
A lot of people in Michigan liked cocaine, okay?
Well, I mean, it fits with the rest of the landscape most of the year.
Yeah, like 8 months out of the year.
What's this white stuff? I don't know. It could be snow. Haha.
Oh, I see what you did there.
um,
Yeah, it's true though.
so, friends, we're I'm gonna say we're coming up to the end of this little episode. We're at about an hour and 47 minutes. So, are there any things you've done this calendar year as a creative person, artistically or personally, that you're proud of? Things you're happy to put your name on? Adam, you're making faces all over it
Oh,
already.
yeah, I was wincing.
He's trying to figure out a way to say everything.
Yeah. Everything and nothing.
The eternal dichotomy, the mystery of the universe.
Yeah, like, this is the best thing I've ever done, and then the next day,
Simply
well,
still existing, simply
well.
still being here, simply still creating. Let's all celebrate that.
Yeah, we can celebrate that for sure.
yeah, definitely. But as far as actual things I can put on the wall,
It doesn't have to be tangible things.
Yeah, some stuff.
Some stuff.
You're being very mysterious. I'm
I've got some stuff.
into
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I've just been making bigger things, which may not sound like that means much, but sometimes it makes a big difference for something to be like, 18 inches square on the wall versus like several feet on the wall. It's I've been making bigger stuff, and it feels really good to be able to feel like I can really do something that might be able to hang anywhere, you know, as opposed to like a.
You know, covered that spot on the wall.
I was thinking more like community art center, but yeah, like you know, gallery quality kind of stuff. I feel like I've been making some of that.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear
Feels
that.
good.
Terry, what are you proud of?
What am I proud of?
Yeah.
I guess just that. So, like, I had a pretty tough year last year. Just trying to like reconfigure and was kind of like in a dark space creatively and just like all the way around actually. And so like this year I'm just really proud that like I've been able to like grow through that and stay inspired and set and attain creative goals, and that's essentially it.
That's a big
That's-
hell yeah.
That's good stuff.
What about
I'm
you,
all
Tyler?
about growth. Well, like I said, I'm all about growth. This year has been very different for me. I'm doing all kinds of different things. I'm, designing 3D things now. I'm working outside of my home with a bunch of guys.
We're not all bad.
It's been a wild ride. And with the yoga teacher training, it's like my two worlds coming together. Very strange, but I'm realizing very doable for me. I'm going to make the journey what it's going to be for me and my family, and I'm going to include my friends as much as possible. We're all doing yoga. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, I just have a lot of excitement for what's happening. Like my birthday is coming up, not tomorrow, but the following Monday.
Uh-oh.
And I always feel like this huge sense of like renewment and like, it's just a lot of great things are gonna happen. So I'm sorry, I feel cheesy, but
She's hyped on the growth potential.
I am. And I also love the holidays because everyone slows down a little bit. Everyone's gonna kind of just like chill out. There's not gonna be a lot of like, this is the last podcast of the year.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
it's
not
the
just for
it's
you.
the first what is it? This is the first weekend of November, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the first weekend of November. So just to put a real timestamp on that, today is November the 7th, and this is the last podcast I'm going to record for the entire year. And unless something just magically falls in my lap between now and December 31st, I'm not going to touch this equipment except to publish these last 3 episodes until January 1st.
Because we're all on that same train. We're all gonna take a breath. We're all gonna take a step back, and we're all gonna come back bigger and better.
Yeah, I mean, and I've seen you go over the top with how much energy you put into things at work. We work together. I get the privilege of seeing you bust your ass doing the good that you do in accordance to the things that I do in this environment. And you've spent all year hearing me talk about this podcast and how busy I've been with it, so I've poured a bunch of energy into it too, doing 25 episodes in 12 months.
How can you just not always feel a sense of excitement?
I
Something new is always
am
happening,
excited, but I've also figured out like how much appropriate energy to pour into this thing instead of just it being a bottomless cup of just an effort I pour stuff into. So figuring out how to rein myself in on this ride a little bit has been a productive thing on the opposite side of pouring all the energy into it that I have. So next year might be 15 to 20 episodes unless a bunch of stuff just magically lines up, and I'll be totally open to the things that magically line up. But as far as the amount of energy I'm willing to pour into this thing, it's going to be a little less, and that's not a bad thing or a bad lesson to learn.
And I told myself today that there is such thing as being too busy because I'm too busy relaxing, or I'm too busy taking time for myself, or too busy laying here with a book over my face.
Yeah, too busy. It's like I don't have time or energy for that thing.
Yeah.
I'm too busy.
Too busy doesn't always mean that you're exhausted and you don't have time for anyone, and even yourself. Too busy can also mean that you're taking time for yourself. I told myself that 1,000 times today as I did a bunch of things for myself. So
Yeah, that's generally when I'm too busy if I'm not professionally too busy. Like I'm busy at home kicking my feet up because I've worked 12 to 14 hours a day. Like I'm busy with me right
yeah,
now.
what I meant is I'm too busy for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, busy for me, too busy for you. Like it's an equal sentiment. What about you, Kevin?
What was the question?
What are you proud of right now that you've accomplished this year in some sort of creative sense?
Man, I'm always proud of my students. That's my job, is to inspire people, to be the best part of people's day, you know, when they come take my classes. I've been seeing a lot of growth from my really young students, my adult students, and that in turn re-inspires me and rejuvenates me and helps me find my drive and my passion again. It's really difficult having a job where, like, I'm the head instructor for a gym, you know, and my boss has moved to Costa Rica, like, so my job is a very physical job, you know, like you're getting punched all day in the face, getting kicked, wrestling people, you know, like it's physically exhausting, but it's helped me realize how much I've accomplished in such a short amount of time, you know, like it's a point of pride at this point, and it's just helped so much, man, just to see how my students improve and how they're growing and how these kids, like, their confidence just skyrockets, you know, and the adults that I help regain parts of their life, you know, whether through traumatic sexual assault or traumatic, you know, abuse or being assaulted or whatever. You know, a lot of these men and women come to me to get over that some way, to learn how to never let that happen again, you know. And the more I realize how much my work impacts them, it just fills my ego in a good way, you know.
It sounds like it's hard not to be inspired by something like that.
It's tricky, you know. It's tricky. I have to be careful about, like, how I emotionally attach myself to certain students, no matter what age they are, because, you know, my job requires me to be very compassionate towards people, you know. Mm-hmm. Not that you guys don't. I'm not speaking for y'all. I'm just saying that is exactly what my job is. But it's all me. You know, I'm the only instructor at that gym that does what I do. And before, I used to always, like, kind of like what Tony was saying, like, I felt like I had imposter syndrome, basically. Like, I was like, I can't be that guy. How am I the one doing this? Like, how are people paying the money they do to take my advice on things, you know? And then this year was one of those where I realized, like, no, like, you are that fucking guy. You get me? And so that's where it's like, I let my ego fuel me in a good way. I'm not full of myself. I just have to remind myself, yeah, you are that fucking badass. You have worked that fucking hard. You do inspire people like that. Because if I don't believe that, then how the hell are they gonna believe it themselves? You know?
It's one of those situations, you either quit or you
right.
rise to the
You either,
challenge.
and I tell my students all the time, self-defense, you know, we all talk about fight or flight, right? And everybody's like, well, that's the kind of people you have. And I'm like, no, there's fight, flight, or freeze. And most people in life and in these things that I do tend to freeze, and that's a hard thing for people to grasp about themselves. I think through this whole COVID shit, a lot of people hit panics, you know, I did too. But for me, again, like, you know, to go back to your question, like, this whole year I've accomplished things for me internally that have helped me realize that, like, I'm fine externally. Like, it has impacted my creative juices to where, like, I have a newfound passion for my martial arts, you know, for my teaching of the kids, for my teaching of the adults, for, like, picking up a hammer and going to push some metal. Why? Because I fucking can. You get me?
Yeah.
Why not? To fucking draw something I've never done before. Why? To, like, challenge myself. Because if I don't challenge myself, how can I keep preaching to my students to challenge themselves? You get me? Like, I can't be complacent all the time. You know, I can't just strive for mediocrity. And that has totally changed for me this year. You know, it's affected how I perceive myself as a boyfriend, as a brother, as a friend, as someone who wants to be a father, you know, and, like, it is a deep question, honestly, to me. It's like a loaded question, but that's what
it has a lot of folds to it.
It does.
Sure.
Like, there's a lot to it, but that's, you know, the big answer there is that it's helped me be more creative and, like, tap into parts of me that I thought I'd lost, you know. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I think we'll close it on that great answer unless somebody else has something else they really feel like they need to say. I think we all got in on that one, right?
Yeah. Y'all are awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Awesome. It is a privilege to sit here in the company of these fine individuals and record this conversation. Just so everybody knows, I've had a great time, and it is a great privilege to be here. All these people are wonderfully talented in their own expert ways, and it is a privilege to live life that is beautified by the creations that they put out into this place that we all call home. This has been the last installment of the KAAMP for 2021. You can find us on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, all the places you would normally find that kind of shindig. If you wish to support us or any of the artists featured on the thing this year at any given time, you can find their information on any of the episode notes. You can find my information on the podcast somewhere or in the episode notes of most episodes. If you want to support the podcast directly, Anchor has a function for you to donate directly to us for this party. If you want to support me and my art, which also in turn supports the KAANP podcast, you can buy tangible and digital artworks from The Twisted Wrist, and you can find him at The Twisted Wrist with all the periods between the words on Instagram. And friends, if we could all plug our socials one more time before we get out of here so everybody knows where to find us other than the episode notes. Tanya's bowing out. What about you, Adam? You want to say it again?
Yeah, it's Adam Rowe Music. By the way, I also write music, but I didn't talk about that here. But so that's it.
That's also a thing, Adam.
Well, we talked a little bit about music in the other episode, so if y'all want to listen to that, it's earlier from March this year. So
Well, just listen to all the episodes.
Yeah, that what he said. Just listen to all of them. It'll be great.
Kaichika Loca, KAICHICALOCA on Instagram.
She's great. You should check out her art. It's a lot of large format stuff. I enjoy painting with this human. She's a great time, great artist, makes very, very pretty things. Everybody, thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your willingness to share space and energy with this program. Y'all have a good holiday season, and I'll talk to you next year.
Happening.